Hello, making a clay video with matching colors. It looks nice. I like the visuals to be nice. I want it to be tingly. Tingly only if I'm not talking about politics though, because that's not very tingly. And I was just talking to Paul about politics and I was not in a tingly mood, as you can imagine. So that's why I came here to see you guys and make Play-Doh sculptures with you. Get yourself a Play-Doh and together we can make Play-Doh sculptures. We can make Stegosaurus. And all you need to do is you need to grab it like this and squeeze it, and there's the Stegosaurus. See? Hello. I have spikes on my back. So Al Gore was interviewed and Paul was watching that on his computer, and I was in the living room eating something I should not have eaten, which was a Lindt chocolate. It tasted so good. But anyway, it was very sad for me. It's very sad for me and frustrating when I see all of these mellow and peaceful and kind and decently behaving people, you know, that are trying to talk to not mellow and not decently behaving people. And they're trying to talk to them on frequency A when the undecent people are on frequency Z. How do we reach someone if we say, you know, it is so, yeah, we don't want da 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 da. And so that's the frequency A. And so how do we communicate with frequency Z? With the it doesn't resonate, obviously. Yeah, no, it doesn't. So this kind of demonstrated that well. You know, a red-faced, meat-eating, total psychopath, out of control, crude locker room, pussy grabber, asshole. How is he gonna listen to someone who is like, yes, I am, we are, yeah, we can do that, people are good. No, they are not good. And you know, we have to this appeasement talk stuff, that the appeasement talking like this. Yeah, we need people to side with us, so we beg them on our hands and feet to, in the most peaceful way, when the other people are not peaceful at all, right? You don't even connect with them on the same frequency. Yeah. Donald Trump knows how to do this much better. Donald Trump takes time. That's why he has been tweeting a lot before he was elected. Because he wants to see how people are thinking. He wants to see into people's brains. And it's a wonderful way to do this now. And every politician should at least take some time to study and go into people's brains. I'm not talking about the corporate ones. They're already doing this. They have been doing this for a long time, for over 100 years. But I'm talking about anyone who cares, like Hillary Clinton and Al Gore and Donald Trump and Ingrid Newkirk and Paul Watson. They need to, and Peter Hammarstedt. They need to not be so nice. They need to at least, I really recommend to you guys, don't be so nice anymore. Al Gore in particular. This is a real problem. Al Gore, you are too nice. You understand? You are too nice. This is a problem. It's not working. Okay? It isn't working. It doesn't vibe on the same frequency with the 95% crude and calloused locker room gropers. Okay, so right there. Okay, it's not on the same frequency. It's not on the same radio frequency, literally. Yeah. You guys need to go out there and you need to spend some time in chat rooms so that you get an idea on how people think, how the majority of these people think. And most of them are men in chat rooms. They actually use this as porn. One guy actually admitted that he uses going into a chat room to get him into the mood. Like, wow, yes, man, yes, let's go in the chat room to get aroused. This is so incredibly stupid. But this is what's happening. Yeah. This is what's going on. It's incredible. Oh, man. Wow. I'm sorry. I don't mean to make fun of anyone. I really don't. You know, it's just so, I'm just so incredibly frustrated about all of this. This is so frustrating when we have weather catastrophes happening and no one is listening to the scientists like Al Gore and all the other weather scientists around the globe that all have come to the same number data individually, independently from one another. But no one is listening. They don't read this. They don't hear. They don't get to hear it. They don't get to hear this from Glenn Beck. What do you expect? That Glenn Beck is gonna be totally unbiased and giving you the facts about the world? I mean, how can you possibly think something like this? That Glenn Beck gives you the real shit or something? No, he's not. Glenn Beck gives you the oil industry propaganda. Totally, 100%, 150%. Oil industry propaganda and slandering anyone who's green and clean and cares. Everyone. But people don't put A and B together. No, they don't. They're too busy masturbating and drinking beer and taking Viagra and trying to get out from under their emotional pain. Escape mechanisms, escapism. That's what they're in. That's what's going on. So this is what I deal with. That's what I think about. This is what my mind is on every day. Seeing humanity, what they do to this planet. Well, it's probably a total waste of time to even talk about this, and certainly a waste of time to struggle with anyone about it, because people make up their minds on it. They go by their peer group. The black community they actually say this is a white thing to care about the environment. Excuse me, you live on this planet too, right? Just saying. The Republicans, they are super racist too. It's shocking to me how racist the right-wingers are also. I thought that had tapered off, but it didn't. And then I see that there are some left-wingers that are also racist against the other races, but they won't say anything out of fear of being labeled. And then there's maybe there's, I don't know, the amount of people that love all is super minute. It's like less than 1% probably. So, and that includes me. I love all beings. I don't care what skin color someone has. So. And I want every psychopath, no, regardless of skin color, to be headquartered. So that's just where I stand, and I will say it over and over and over again. It's not being, things are not being regulated and done by trying to appease and appeal to a certain demographic with appeasing words of flattery and pretty talking. That's not gonna do it's not gonna get anything done in the world at all. It's a waste of time. That's what that is. I'm not saying that Al Gore or any of these people should start shouting, or, we don't need to. I mean, we certainly can't appeal to the crudes, so, but at least let's become a little bit less pretty talking. Let's address the things without any roundabout conversation making and decency and flattery and kindness and niceness in conversation. Let's address the things the way they are. Let's put out the data and let's say take it or leave it. This is your world. If you want to destroy your neighborhoods and have tornadoes run through and brush everything off, it's your homes, it's your lives. Okay. Take it or leave it. So karma is hitting, whether you believe that global warming is caused by pollution or not. It still is. The facts are still standing. Give facts, all the kind people out there. Al Gore, give facts and don't be nice anymore in the interviews. Give the truth. The truth speaks already for itself. And that's it. And walk out. This is the data. Done. I have something else to do. Thank you. Excuse me. And walk away and say that to the next interviewer. Okay. Until people get it. So, only the facts. Put them into people's faces and walk away. And that's how we have to deal with this. And that's the only way. That's, the crudes don't understand pretty talk, and the academics, they will vote for that only because their peer groups vote for it. So most of them. Only 1% of people in the world really actually care about this planet. Not about their peer group liking them or some other shit, religion. 1% of people that actually care about this planet, Al Gore is included in that. The other people go by peer fear. Peer group fear. Oh, if I say the wrong word, they might not like me. Oh, if I put the wrong shirt on, they might not like me. That's what most people are dealing with. That's what their minds are on. or if they don't talk cool enough, oh, they could be not liked. What then? Then they lose their peer group and their cool friends. Cool, yes, very cool. People only care about their prestige. That's not cool, in my opinion. Al Gore is cool, and Paul Watson and Ingrid Newkirk. Those are cool, really cool people with a K. I think what Kanye West is doing is cool. It looks like he actually cares about things. So, that's cool. I didn't know him at all. You know, I heard things, this and this and that, and I brush it off. I'm not interested in these gossip type things now, but I see now he's in the news for other reasons. He's in the news because he actually cares. He's putting his mind into thinking about the future. So that's cool. It's also cool that Barack Obama has done some things, small things, in terms of environment and all of this. So little steps. Could have done a whole lot more. But you know, the oil industry has a huge grip on the politicians. Huge. But you know, if you're already on the Democratic platform, you can do a lot more. A lot more. But at least Barack Obama understood that global warming is caused by pollution. Okay, that's cool already, you know. So, and I know Donald Trump understands it too. But hey, he is working on the Republican platform. He's standing on that. Okay, so he's pressured in that way. It's really hot today. The sweat is just running down my cheeks. Global warming, you know, in October. Every window is open, the door here. I'm sitting here in a t-shirt and I'm sweating. And as the sun is setting, and the days are getting much shorter, and it is extremely hot. Extremely hot. I think it's like 100 degrees here in this room here. It's crazy. And we're near the ocean. We're in the maritime climate zone. Not in the desert, where it gets way above 100. So I noticed very clearly, that the heat waves go way into October now, and even into November now. And there sometimes it gets very, very hot even in February in California. So all of this is moving further and further. The heat is moving further out, expanding further out. And I noticed that cricket sounds at night, which I have not noticed a couple of years ago, particularly here, where we're here. I have not noticed it like that in October. Like really loud cricket concerts outside, like that, the ones that you would normally hear in Tijuana or probably further south, like Baja California, probably. But that's what's happening here now. So I pay attention to these things. I hear these crickets, and I'm watching videos from Olivia Kisper, and she has incredibly many crickets and cicadas where she lives in Costa Rica. And so she has geckos and all kinds of amazing animals that are making concerts, also at night. And then the other day I was watching her video with the singing balls and hear her crickets respond to the singing balls. And then I don't know, I turned the video off and the cricket sounds continued. And I'm like, oh, those are lower pitched, not as high pitched cricket sounds as in Costa Rica, much lower pitched, with deeper voices, but a whole lot of crickets out there. Haha, that's crazy. And the other day there was a cricket trapped in here between the balcony door and the screen door. There's still like a gap like this, so, and he was able to walk around, and there was even, I think there's a hole somewhere, but walking and walking in there as I was making a video. So, and then after the video I went ahead and I took that cricket in my hand and I let him out, and he jumped and jumped and jumped, and he jumped over there. Looked a little bit like a grasshopper, but he had this like a sort of like an armor shield body, and very interesting. And then he went down there on the ground, and there are gaps that are this big underneath in the greenhouse, so he could get out of there. So yeah, I always rescue insects too, and spiders. I take them outside. I just can't kill any being. And when I see a brown recluse, the ones with the really fat legs, yeah, sometimes I have to step on those and make sure that they get destroyed very quickly so they don't suffer. I always make sure of that. Or when they are on the ceiling, then Paul comes with the vacuum cleaner. Because yeah, we can't take any chances with recluses. There are different types of recluses. They don't make nets, or they make very small nets in a corner, maybe very tiny nets, and more like how as their own tents, and where they live in it, where they lay eggs or something, where they bring prey into sort of like a predator animal. And they run very fast, and they have very thick short legs. So those are the recluses, and they are very afraid too, but that is not their fault. They inject poison when they're afraid. That's their self-defense, evolution. But if you have them in the house, you don't want to be badly surprised by those. So that's why it's better to get rid of those. And I recommend to sprinkle diatomaceous earth, because that dries out the insects. You don't want to put that on flowers, because then the bees will get dried out, and we need the bees and all the different bee types to come back. The bees are actually dying out in shocking amounts because of pesticides. Okay, that's the reason. People were wondering what caused that. They thought it was the mobile phone, the cell phone technology. That's not what caused it. Or magnetism experiments in Switzerland, the black hole creation tunnels. No, none of this is affecting the bees. What affects them are pesticides, Roundup, those kind of things. And that's very, very dangerous. When the bees become extinct, then we have no more vital pollinators. And we need the pollinators for all these different plant species, including our food plants. We have to have pollinators that go from one flower to another and fertilize each other, fertilize the different plants, and create fertile seeds that will fall into the ground. We need the bees for that. It's very important. So never ever use pesticides again on anything. For nothing. Flea collars, don't use that. Don't use flea or tick poisons on a dog. Don't do that. They come sometimes in these droplet bottles and stuff like this. Paul used to do this. We got terrible migraine headaches from breathing that in. The dogs, they suffered from that too. They got all like sluggish and cranky. It's horrible, absolutely horrible. It's nerve damaging. Animals have died from people using flea and tick poisons, pesticides. I can't use that anymore, sorry. What works the best is Diatomaceous Earth Food Grade. I recommend it to all people. I talk about this all the time. When I see people talking about what to use for insect pests, use Diatomaceous Earth. It's safe for mammals, 100% safe. It's actually good for us. You know, you don't want to breathe the powder in too much. So you have to be careful when you get towards the dog's ears, you know, just have that a little bit like the powder on your hand's surface, and then massage that in behind the ears and under the chin, and start out with like a teaspoon of the powder on the back all the way by the tail. Start massaging there in circles, and then work up towards the neck area, so that it doesn't get into their eyes or lungs. But other than that, it's completely safe. And Dave and I, we take that internally also. 1 teaspoon or 1 tablespoon of Diatomaceous Earth Food Grade powder mixed into a cold drink or hot drink. So mix in very well with a spoon, and then you drink and taste really good. You can mix it into water, it dissolves very easily, it tastes very good. It tastes very fresh, refreshing. It tastes just a little bit like cement or something. So, you know, like, well, it's a natural earth sedimentation. And it's a natural insect remover. It's fantastic, and it's not expensive because we have that in such vast abundance on this planet. So I highly recommend to people to never use pesticides again and only use Diatomaceous Earth. Very important. I wrote about this in my health books. This is very calming to do this for my nerves. I need this. I needed this. I'm so glad I have these clays. They're such a lifesaver for my nerves. Feels really, really satisfying to do this, to grab into it and then to get the fingers out slowly, because it's kind of sticking. The fingers are sticking in there and it feels so good on the skin. I'm very grateful for this modality, internet and tablets, making videos, learning how to make videos unedited, uncensored. No more censoring of myself, but relaxing into the moment of making the video. I can't do it if this was live. That would not, I would get all nervous and jittery. But like this here, I don't have to put it on the internet if I don't want to. So that's why it is good and relaxing. And then I see some people are actually really relaxed when they're live in a talk show or something. Like Stormy Daniels comes to mind. Wow, I envy that woman for being so relaxed. Wow, how can someone be so relaxed live in an interview where she has no authority over the editing whatsoever? Or, you know, when she's live in a talk show with Jimmy Kimmel. And there's thousands of people in the audience. And they snicker, you know. People snicker at every shit. Someone who's self-conscious would go like, ooh, they're snickering, shit. That's what I would be like. I'd be like, no, give me a Chardonnay, man. You know, and I'll just get up and run, run backstage and hide behind a cardboard box. I don't know. I'd say, sorry, I can't, you know, when I came to the center, Ajanov had me come to the stage. Ooh. But I mean, there weren't very many people. We were like, I don't know, 60 people there. But still, you know, I couldn't even give presentations. That's why I came to Arjanov. So I couldn't even give presentations in our seminars for psychology, and there were only like 40 people or 30 people sometimes, and I couldn't do it, you know. And then there were all these, there are 60 people, some of them much older than me, and I was 26 at that time, and Arjanov asked me questions on stage, and I froze up, and I said, I'm sorry, I can't do this. and I walked off that stage, and he took it kind of like as some kind of rudeness against him, but it wasn't. It was not against him. I love that man. I was terrified. How can this Stormy Daniels sit there in any of these interviews like this? I'm badass. You don't mess with me. You know, I could be like this in a chat room where they don't see me or something. They don't see my facial expression or something. But like sitting there live, you know, interviewed by prominent people. How can she sit there like this? I mean, this woman must be a rock of self-esteem. How's that possible? Particularly if she has a past where she was also sexually abused, like almost all women have. How can she have such extremely high self-esteem and be so confident? That's a puzzle to me. How is that possible? That's a different brain anatomy. Someone who is so confident and has a low resting heart rate. I have a high accelerated resting heart rate. I think it's like 150 or something, my resting heart rate. It's crazy. I'm a nervous wreck. How can someone be... And I'm only doing this here, I'm only kind of like leaning into this video because I'm practicing this now. This can be practiced. And then you get used to this. And then the fear goes away, the nervousness after a while. Maybe one can get used to being in the public as well. So probably so. For me it would take ages. I don't know. I don't know if I could ever get used to it, no matter how I practice it, or no matter how many acting lessons I took. So, or meditation, or public speaking meditation. Lean into the fear. Lean into the now moment. So it was very interesting. I had dreams in the past where there would be a bunch of rocker type of guys with long hair standing in a group, and that's the agoraphobia part, and I would have to walk past them to get from A to B, and they would all start to turn around and look at me, and I don't know why anyone would look at me. I never understood why they did, but this sounds really conceited again, but I don't mean it in a conceited way. And I still don't know why they looked at me, but they looked at me lots and lots and lots, and that made me very nervous. So that's why I started to dress tomboyishly. You know, if I dress showing more skin, then there were just way too many men looking, and it made me feel absolutely terrified because I didn't know why they were looking, and I thought they were giggling, or I thought they were laughing about me, you know. So whatever the reason was for them looking, it made me very nervous, you know. So I felt a lot more safe covering up and dressing more neutral and dressing more boyishly and all of this. And even having longer hair made me feel vulnerable. Dresses are complete out the window. Like dresses, my mother put me into dresses. I looked like JonBenét Ramsey when I was that age, and well, luckily she didn't bleach my hair or put makeup on. That would have really been awful. No, my mother wasn't some person like that. My mother was a lawyer and very austere kind of person. But at that time, that was the the very early 70s was the miniskirt era, and my mother and were really short miniskirts. Men were constantly hitting on her on the streets all the time. non-stop when she was with me without my dad. It was awful. And she put me in mini skirts, and I remember saying to her, these men are looking. And she said, oh, that's just in your imagination. And I said, but they are looking, and that's scaring me. And then I started to paint eyes. Thousands and thousands of eyes I would be painting. Like from age 4 to 10, constantly painting eyes. And I talked about this before. I was sent into a child therapy and brought with me a thousand paintings that I have painted, all psychograms with eyes, skeletons, skulls and bones, cut off heads, bleeding, corpses. That's not totally normal. Okay, so yeah, there's child abuse in almost every family, whether we remember this or not, or whether we paint things like this or not, or whether we have dreams about this, or whether we have conscious memories. It happened. So I don't have any conscious memories. I had nightmares and dreams about this from childhood on. Bathroom scenes, and I would paint those also. Bathroom scene dreams that are very scary, and paintings, psychogram paintings of it. My grandfather was depicted as an oversized vulture with a green eye with a vertical pupil slit in the middle of the eye, and looking down on the Great Dane, my brother and myself, standing there totally helplessly. In the middle of that bathroom was the bathroom tiles all the way around us. So I have the trauma, you know, so when I saw men looking at me, it was immediately frightening. This is another open video, and I know that I can imagine that it might trigger someone this way or that way, or it might bring up memories for someone, or it might make someone think that I'm just bragging. That's another possibility. I'm always painfully aware of that. So I don't mean to brag ever. Sometimes I say, yeah, I love my artwork. But that's not bragging. I'm not trying to rub it into anyone's face and say, hey, I'm such a great artist or something. I'm just infinitely happy and fulfilled with my art. And so I like to tell the whole world that, you know, so, but yeah, I'm aware that if I dress a little feminine, that someone will think, now I'm bragging about being pretty or something. I'm painfully aware that I'm not pretty. Okay, so, and that's also my mother then, you know, the jealousy of my mother. That was very traumatic. And it lives on with this self-conscious awareness that if I say that they were looking at me, then they will think I'm bragging, or they will get mad at me for this, something, or they will think I'm not humble. And so all of this is always there. It's not that I'm free from society and what they think and any of this, but my message of love, you know, the need to bring this stuff to the world and talk about all of this is so much stronger than my self-consciousness and the nervousness and the shyness and the fear and all of that. I have a rebel inside of myself that says no to all kinds of shit. It says no to human neurosis and ridiculous, neurotic bullshit. But it also says no to my own neurotic bullshit. It says no to my own phobias. And it says, hey, come here. You got to challenge this now. You can't go on like this. You can't go on. You can't go on with the shyness. You have a message. You got to dissolve the shyness. So that has to be dissolved. I'm working on it. I will never stop working on that. I will never reach a level of work and say, now I'm no longer shy or something. I will always be shy. I will always feel awkward and self-conscious. In public or with a boyfriend, And that's why I desperately need someone who really sees me for who I am, for whom I am, for everything that I am, an artist, insecure, this, my humor, everything. And someone who doesn't get triggered, like where they feel suddenly awkward and uncomfortable because they encounter my pain and my shyness. It's someone who's okay with that. Someone who says, hey, don't worry, I'm here for you. You don't have to hide your belly fat. You don't have to be afraid that you have bad breath or you farted or you said something silly or you stuttered or whatever, whatever insecurity comes up. A person with whom I can talk about everything. Everything. Someone who sees me doing OCD rituals, and instead of getting fearful or starting to say something rude, like as Paul has done many times, will say, come here, I will hold you in my arm. No need for the OCD. Hold you in my arm. I love you no matter what. You could be fat, anything. I love you no matter what. That's the kind of guy I want. Not an insecure guy who plays macho on the outside and who can only be seen with the photo model. Someone who I can't even talk about because then I feel like I'm going to be judged for it again. I don't want a man who secretly fantasizes about a bigger woman but can only go to dinner with a skinny, lanky lady. And he might not even want her physically, just so that he can be regarded as cool by his peer group of prestigious friends. And if they saw him with me, they would say, what's up with you, dude? Are you losing your style? What's up with that lady? Are you becoming trailer? Are you going trailer on us? And that's what they're afraid of. That might happen. That's a catastrophe without end if that happened.